So if you ever feel like you have a lot of motivation for a few days and something like that, you have a lot of motivation. If you enjoy working out, working on your goals, etc., and the next week or so, you get demotivated, you get depressed or something, like you don't want to do anything. So if you're struggling in this no progress cycle, when you are motivated and then after a week or so you're unmotivated, and you're unmotivated longer than you were motivated, then it is a big deal. I would highly encourage you to watch this video, because it will change the way you look at motivation, and you change your how to break out of the cycle is you do a dopamine fast, which I will talk about it in later in the video. So I'm first of all, I'm recording this video because a month or two I learned this from Charlie Morgan, and so it really changed my life, and I finally found motivation, not like found, but I made my brain to crave motivation, not motivation, to work, to do standard stimulants, which I'm going to talk about soon. So first of all, in your brain releases dopamine every time you do anything. You, for example, you watch YouTube, play video games, eat food, anything. And so you have what called this dopamine baseline. So for example, a lot of teenagers have a high dopamine baseline. And so those numbers are just from 0 to 100. It doesn't matter. You can't really specify where your baseline is, but whenever you are not like whenever you want to do something better for your life, you know that, for example, eating less fast food, exercising, etc., you feel motivated. But after a while you get unmotivated because you get less dopamine, less stimulants. And so this is what happens when you are doing New Year's resolutions. You're used to be in this baseline. You used to play video games, watching YouTube, alcohol, really loud music, whatever, and you opt in for lower baseline dopamine baseline, and so you get a lot of pain because you're lowering your baseline very drastically and for a longer period of time. So this is probably where you are. You have a lot of, not a lot of, your baseline is really high, and I am here somewhere. I don't know. Nobody knows. And I don't watch YouTube. I don't drink or do anything that is hyper stimulating. So let's talk about what are hyper and standard stimulants. So stimulants are the things you do in your life. For example, food, video games, music, social media. Those are the categories that could be break down into hyper and standard. So for example, for food, in the category food, you could be in a hyper stimulant. For example, fast food, McDonald's, pizzas, whatever. And it could be, for a standard stimulant, it could be a single ingredient. For example, chicken, broccoli, just rice, or sweet potato, or single ingredient that doesn't have sauces or sugar or anything like that. The same goes for video games. Fortnite, for example, is a very stimulant game, and when Mario is less stimulant game. So it shouldn't be like with video games. This is not like standard, but it's way lower. Music, for example, rock music, metal, anything that is very popular is very hyper stimulating. It's loud, it's a lot of instruments, it's fast usually. And ambient music, that is slow, that is not loud, that is relaxing. And for example, also classical music is standard. Social media, for example, Instagram is very hyper stimulating, but compared to talking with friends is standard stimulation. And also there are things that can't be in in both categories. For example, drugs and alcohol. You can't be in standard, like maybe lowering your dose is going to be a standard, but it can't be in standard. So it's just hyper stimulation. And for example, exercise, cold exposure, meditation, reading is just standard. You can't, hyper cold exposure. Like, how do you make your cold exposure hyper stimulating? It's just standard stimulation. And and your brain always wants to search for less stimulating things. When your brain wants to have dopamine levels lower because it's taxing. Your brain uses a lot of energy to understand your hyperstimulation, like to break down your hyperstimulation. And so your brain craves standard stimulation. And so if you want to be successful, you have to learn how to lower your dopamine baseline, and you'll get a lot more motivation, and you will feel like work is like playing a video game. And yes, so whenever you using hyperstimulation, for example, your baseline is here, and if you don't play video games at all, your baseline is here, and when you play video games, your dopamine is above baseline. Where's this thingy? So for example, your baseline is here, and whenever you play video games, your dopamine shoots up and it's here. But whenever after everything, after drinking alcohol or food, your dopamine lowers below what it used to be. So if your baseline is here and you stopped playing video games, so you played for an hour or two and you stopped playing video games, it will lower over time, like in 2 hours or so, it will lower and it's going to be below baseline. And so you'll feel demotivated and you'll feel less energized. And so you'll be here for some time, and after some time you'll come back up to your baseline where you used to be. So that's your dopamine and your baseline explained. And so how do you come from a hyperstimulation, it's like from a very high baseline to a lower baseline? So, and don't expect your results of dropping your baseline very quickly. It takes years. It takes a long time to lower your baseline. So what I would recommend you is to dopamine fast. If you're really stimulated, if you're scrolling every day, you're playing video games, you're eating fast food, then I would recommend doing this once a week. So once a week, usually on Sundays, you do nothing, literally nothing, except read. You can read a book, you can walk, and you can drink water. And you cut out everything. for the next 24 hours. So you do nothing. You don't socialize, you don't talk to anyone, you don't play video games, you don't use phone, you don't eat anything, you don't anything. Whatever you do, you can't exercise, you can't do anything except read, walk, and drink water. That's it. And for the 24 hours. And after the Sunday, you go to sleep. When you wake up on Monday, you'll feel very energized because your baseline will be lower each time you do this dopamine fast. And so you'll feel energized, you'll be motivated, and your work will feel like very stimulating. And what you want to do on Monday is to eat clean, exercise, work, chase your dreams, your goals, and you'll making your brain your brain will associate that those good standard stimulants with reward. So your brain will understand that doing these standards stimulations will be rewarding. It will be way better than hyper stimulating. I don't know how to explain, but I'm sure I hope that I'm making sense. Like, you'll understand that dropping your baseline is a key to success. And so after Monday will be perfect. You'll be motivated. You will not even watch YouTube or anything. You'll be dialed in. You'll eat clean. You'll exercise hard. Everything will be perfect. On Tuesday, it's going to be not as good, but it's going to be good. Not as good as Monday, but it's going to be better than you're used to. On Wednesday, it's going to be a bit worse, and on Thursday, Friday, it's going to be as you used to. By Friday, you'll be bored and unmotivated. You will want a hyperstimulation. You'll start scrolling YouTube. If you're doing this before dopamine fast and you're used to watch YouTube every day, TikTok, then by Friday you'll be searching for hyperstimulants. Your brain will seek that, and that's okay, because you don't want to cut everything out like most people do on New Year's resolutions, when they used to be in this baseline and they just cut everything down and just for a week or 2 or 3 they can be in this baseline, their new baseline, but they'll feel a lot of pain and they'll become anxious and stuff like that, and so they'll come back to their baseline and they'll continue watching YouTube and etc., and they'll not make any progress. And that's the no progress cycle, when they're motivated for a week or 2 and then they're unmotivated for the next 2 or 3 months. And so you'll on Friday, as I said, you'll play video games, you'll watch YouTube if you used to doing that, and that's okay, because on Sunday you'll again do it on your dopamine fast, and you will get used to, and you will get Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday very like rewarding, like it's going to be amazing. And so don't change anything, but just try doing these things as in the beginning of the week. You don't want to spend a lot of time on YouTube when your brain is when your brain is primed to work, and you don't want to eat fast food, you don't want to be on social media. You just do the things because your brain is at its almost fullest. I don't know how to explain, but your brain craves to work, to chase your dreams. So yeah, as I said, in the Friday and Saturday you'll feel like shit, and do it again another Sunday. And so after like a month or two of doing this every week, you'll I would recommend you doing that once every 2 weeks. So you will skip one Sunday. So you'll do one Sunday, then you'll skip another Sunday, and then do the third Sunday, and you'll skip the fourth Sunday. And do it that for the next 2 months. And for the next 2 months, you'll do once a month. So yeah, I'll show you real quick. So once a week for 2 months. If your brain is really fried, like you can't even be with yourself, you can't read, you can't play, you can't not play video games, you can't not scroll, you're addicted to fast food, you do this for the next 2 months. If you are able to do this for the next 2 months, do it once every 2 weeks for the next 2 months. And if everything is going smoothly, do it once every month for 2 months. And what else? After that, if you're feeling great, if you're working, you feel great, then you should do this dopamine fast whenever you feel like your brain is not, I don't know how to say it, when your brain is like shit. You'll after this 6 months, you'll begin to understand whenever your brain is optimized, whenever your brain is good, you'll feel that, yeah, whatever I wanted to say. But yeah, after this 6 months, you can do whenever you want it. So you can do it every 3 months, every half a year, do it once every half a year, whenever you feel your brain needs to reset. This usually comes after big events, like, I don't know, big holidays like Christmas, when you are with your family eating a lot of food, like just not working. And after that, if you're feeling like shit, you should do dopamine fast. So whenever, after you're completed these 6 months, you can do this whenever you want. And yeah, I hope this video explained you how you can lower your baseline so your brain will crave working. You will reach your dreams and your goals way faster than you would do this now. So yeah, this video is mainly for myself, because when I explain something, I learn better. And so if I ever like forget it, I'll have a video to look back on and to do it again, like to do dopamine fast again. And it is very rewarding after you wake up on Monday and do the work. Like the next 3 days is going to be amazing. So yeah, hopefully this video helped you.